Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. It is time to finish, well, probably not finish. We're probably going to get to building on this again. I'm going to kind of show you some of the things. I've obviously painted it, so that I believe will be in the last video at the end, towards the end, so you'll get to see a little bit of that. I have some separate stuff on that paint system I used and all that kind of stuff if you want to go check that out. At the end of this video there will be a link to my shed playlist, so go check that out if you want to see other things on this shed. Well, I finally finished my sections here. I mean, you probably already guessed it. In the last video I told you I'd finish this up and show you, but I have a space here where I can put stuff now. Whether or not it'll get utilized, I don't know. I also made it so I only have a couple screws I can pull off of the bottom of each one of them and be able to get to, you know, clean it out, or if I drop something in there and need to get to it. I have since figured out I'm gonna probably have a cupboard in this area. So this one is about 8.5 inches down. This one is about 4.5 inches, so half the space. This one's right at 5 inches, so I got different little cubbies there if I decide to use them. As of right now I haven't really figured anything out specifically I want back there, but you never know. It gives you a little extra space for something, and it's something to kind of give you an idea on how to use some space that might be otherwise unused. I was also able to take out, you can see where it's not painted right there, but I took a Sawzall and cut down those. I started by trying to pry out that metal piece right there, and I did one of them and it was just too much work, so I just took my Sawzall and sawed it down, and that did fine. Took a hammer and hammered that up so it's not too many pointy things sticking out. Well, as you can see right there, there's a 2x4, and right there, there's another 2x4. I started filming this, but for some reason either the camera shut off or I pushed the button and thought it was recording, but it wasn't. I don't know. So you see me drilling the holes right here. I have been pre-drilling all my holes just because I've noticed everything is splitting when it comes to drilling into screwing things into 2x4, so I've gotten to a practice of drilling things first. So here's the deal. I'm going to be bringing in my electrical right up through here. There's going to be a box over here that's going to have a GFCI outlet in it, and then that's going to go to everything else basically in here. I didn't want to put a 2x4 across here and cover all this stuff out. I'm going to go ahead and make it so I can use this outlet if I need to, otherwise it'll be kind of the breaker box for this shed. But regardless, I got a piece of scrap 2x4 here, and just if you look, there's not going to be a whole lot of much of anything that's heavy up here. So I'm not really worried about making sure everything's perfect. I guess I could put another board across that area and leave it out a little ways, but I don't feel the need for it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm taking my cut 2x4s here that I'm putting in the middle here, and you'll notice I drilled my holes side to side because I need to put these in flat, because over the door there's the 2x4 that I'm setting the board on top of, and there's not really any other place. I could put it over here, maybe this direction, but that's just it. I don't need strength over there. I just need strength in the middle, and then the sides have their own strength built in. So I'm going to turn these sideways, which isn't as strong of a way to put it, and then put these up in here. and screw them in. I'll just kind of toenail it or screw it into the door top here, and these ones will just go straight through. So in case you didn't go watch my first video on this, which I highly suggest watching if you want to know how I made it this far so far, but I ended up to put this on top of the top plates over here. I had to put one on one side of this joist over here, and the other end of this is on the opposite side of that joist, that they're kind of kitty corner, because I could not get it put up in there so it would go straight across without cutting more than I wanted to off of it just to get it up there, and then I don't feel like it would have been as sturdy that way. So I set it up here and I decided that's the way I'm going with it. You can't even tell anyway. And it doesn't hurt anything. The only problem is now I do need to make sure that my cut on that board starts at one measurement and ends at a different measurement for the board up here. Also, in case you were wondering, why didn't I just put it on the bottom like I did on the other side? And it's because I was afraid when I was stepping up like this into here, I would get just enough height extra taking that step that I would knock my head on that if I would have put it down below like I did on the other side. Plus this does give it a little, well, quite a bit more strength in all actuality. But the other downside to that is I am putting the other board that's going to go on top of here is going to be on top of this right above the door right here, which there's some nails sticking out that I need to address up here. But anyway, so I wasn't able to get another one in here. Now the other thing, I also cut these off going across here. So to replace that strength, I really wanted something going across here as well. I am thinking about putting a smaller board up there as well. That's yet to be seen, depending on the wood I have and the time I have and when I decide to do it. Those might not be in any videos at all. Well, as you can see, I have a bunch of stuff in here, unlike what was going on during this video. Unfortunately, I lost some footage, so I gotta kind of explain what's going on. And we'll start up here. First of all, I ended up putting another 2x4 right here to go across. And part of the reason for that is I chose not to do a board all the way across. I actually have, I think it is a 4-foot, not sure, about board going from about there to there. And I decided to do that so that if I had some taller stuff that I wanted to put in here, it would go up in here. I don't feel that the storage in those areas are all that good anyway. And I also was wanting to be able to, you know, throw some stuff up here as well, and I can get up in there and do that. So I think the bulk of my storage would be in the middle anyway, so I just went ahead and put a board there. Unfortunately, lost that footage. And I had a couple of these here, these Harbor Freight shelves, which I like, but I found I don't have a lot of small stuff to put on these small shelves. I have a lot of big stuff all over that I need to put in here. So I decided to put a shelf across there, and that's kind of where this is going to start at, is me building that shelf. So here we go. You can see kind of how I put that block in behind there. Got a couple screws. We got screws all the way back, so I'm not worried about the weight this can hold. This will hold plenty of weight. Something I did do, kind of took my level so I knew about where it was going to hit over here, level with this, and put a screw a little lower than that so that I can stick my board on here to kind of hold it while I screw it in over there. So I did the same thing kind of with my screw over here with this board, but I don't know if it showed when I was kind of fast forwarding through doing that. We got those across there. You might notice the front one is a 2x6, and the reason I did that was I really don't want any kind of posts here if I can help it. So I'm hoping that will hold the weight of whatever I put up here without needing to do anything as far as that's concerned. Now, maybe I should have, if I would have known that I was gonna for sure put this here, I would have probably done that with this one right here. And maybe down the line, if I notice sagging, I'll do that. I am going to go ahead and put some stringers across here. Now, something else you may want to do as well is, and I may also, depending on, I'm just going to go with what I got right now. I just don't have money to spend on this. So we may need to put some cripple studs or another stud underneath these just to hold those corners up. But the back one I'm not worried about. With these screws, all that back wall is holding that up. It should be fine. This one, at some point I might pay attention and make sure that, you know, the screws that are going into there is enough to hold the weight. I'm sure it will be, but if you're worried about it, put a couple more studs on both ends going down, or cripple studs, and that would hold it up from the bottom a little better. Oops. Complete reason why you measure twice, look at everything, check it, because I just screwed up on like 3 measurements there and did 22.5 instead of 23.5. So definitely double check things, especially I could tell that something wasn't right. It was just all over the place. As you can see, I got this at an angle here, and obviously it's not going to stay that way. But I don't want the gap between here and there behind this, so stuff falls down behind it. So I set this up here all the way over into the wall there, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark out where these are through all of these, and then half of that one right there. So I'm going to have to cut out for all the studs there so that this goes in. I also need to pay attention to my wires. I'm going to put a little bit extra right here for that, and we'll go ahead and cut those out. Well, it's not perfect, but it's good enough for what I'm doing here. But I wish I would have kind of done this on the top one, because I am scared I'm going to shove something back there, but at least if it does fall, it'll fall through and hit there now. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just cut down that other piece I have for right here, and I'm going to cut it out the same way, do all the stuff the same, and then we'll screw this on here, and I'll have a nice sturdy shelf across here with all these things underneath. Well, first of all, the generator's running in the background if you're hearing a noise. My wife's in the RV cleaning it out, getting it ready to hopefully go down to town here at some point. Anyway, and it's too hot not to have the air conditioner on in there, and I need to run out my generator anyway. So regardless, that's the noise. Second, the absolute worst job I've ever done of fitting something up, but I'm going with it for right now because it's what I got, and I'm getting very over working on this shed. So I'm going to go ahead and screw that down, and I'm going to start loading this shed in. So here's some more lost footage here. Unfortunately, you can't see it quite as well because of the sun and shade, but regardless, we're going to get through this here. My thing is, I need to be able to get through this gate with my truck. I need to be able to drive through here. So if I do a permanent ramp of some sort built in, made out of wood and all pretty like, I would have to drive over it to be able to get back here, and that just didn't seem like a very good idea. And I've actually been kind of pondering on what I should do, and as I was cleaning up my backyard, I remembered I had these right here, or I found them actually, and they are a set of those Harbor Freight ramps. Now in the middle, you can see I have them spread apart here. They actually come bolted together, but I actually took them apart because I was using them to put my riding lawnmower on, that I can bring them in the back of my trailer and ride it up there and take it to my parents' house and do their lawn and snow plow and that kind of stuff. Well, regardless, my mom now lives here and the house is sold, and I haven't used them, so they've been sitting in my backyard and kind of forgot about them. But these work really well for whatever I need. I mean, the riding lawnmower goes on there, my wheelchairs and everything that I'm going to be putting in here is definitely light enough for those. I don't know what the weight is, but I do think that they still sell them. I'm not positive on that either, but something like this might give you an idea of what you can use if you're kind of like me and you don't want something permanent. And they're light enough, because they're all aluminum, but they're light enough that I can just set them right next to here. My one idea was to actually put that right there and have it so it folded down. That was kind of my initial plan, but when I kind of was mocking things up, that was just too steep of an angle going up in there. This is actually a really good angle here, works really good for everything I've needed to put in there so far. I'm going to have a playlist on this shed. Go check those out if this is the first one you're seeing, and there'll be a first one to this build, as well as building things out and how I'm going to start storing things in here and different ideas I have. Yet again, just kind of using what I have. I did end up going and buying the 2x6 and the 2x4 yet again, so I've got all together in this shed so far I have 4 boards that I've bought. All the rest has just been stuff I've had laying around and stuff I've found. So this is just one of the first iterations of this shed. I'm sure down the road, as I figure out how I want to use it more, what I want to put in here more, and those kind of things will always change a little bit here and there, and I might have some future videos on it. At the very least, there'll be a future video on how well this shed hopefully has held up in the future, and we'll go from there. So go check out my other videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this and got something out of it. Now get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one.